Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we do a new character every week. This week, we're going to be talking about Shuri, and I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Jared.
Hey, Jared, how's it going? Hey, everyone out there, we've got the old host back. Hey, Jared, it's nice to have you back on the podcast.
It's good to be back.
How are you doing today, bud?
I'm doing great. Taking a nice walk around my neighborhood. It's a beautiful day out, so hopefully there's not too much background noise for the cast.
Yeah, if we hear any birds, it's either you or me, because I'm also outside. It's too nice of a day not to be walking around.
It is. Feels great.
Yeah. How are you doing today, Brad?
I'm doing just fine, Fred.
That's good to hear. How about you, Brandon? How are things going over there?
Well, it's been a very relaxing day.
Very necessary sometimes, especially after complicated events. How about you, Steven? How are you doing?
Oh, it's another great day in South Carolina. So
That's always good to hear. Good to hear. All right, let's hop into some stuff. As of right now, there's no news from AMG, so we're just holding out until May, probably, until we get some updates about what the new cards are going to look like. So I'm going to just take this opportunity to shout out some upcoming tournaments. There is a tournament on the 26th of April that's coming up on the end of the week. That is at Recess Games at North Olmsted, Ohio. That is the local game store at Cleveland. I guess it's close to Cleveland. And that is Steven's old game shop. Steven, are you still planning to head up to that one?
yeah. I'm heading out of here later this week, excuse me, and I will most definitely be trying to attend. So
Okay, well, let us know how it goes. We'll talk to you about that probably on our next episode. Then coming up on May the 3rd, there is the Richmond Open Grand Tournament. That is in Richmond, Virginia, and it is going to be a 2-day event. It's going to be a very large event and an LVO qualifier. That is something that I myself would be interested in going in the future. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it because that is the same day as the finals for the BECC that we are holding in Pittsburgh.
Fred.
Hey, speaking of which, we are... Brad, do you want to go over this?
Okay.
Why don't you go over this? You have more of the information.
We have decided as a community that instead of being one of 4 communities going towards a bigger event that didn't happen, we are going to do our own thing. So the Appalachian Cup is being revived for MCP. This is a tournament series that was invented back in the War Machine days when we played War Machine, and also existed during Guild Ball and is now back for MCP. The structure is basically the same. We're going to have qualifiers and then a big finals event. Points are different. You now get points if you go. You can't go to an event and not get any points. You will get points. And then it's still going to be the top 8, or if there's enough participants, Bryce may bump it up to 16. I don't know. I can't read Bryce's mind. So it's just a rebranding. It's basically the same thing we were doing. If you are in the West Virginia, Western Pennsylvania, Ohio area, feel free to come to the events. They'll be a lot of fun.
Or if you're not, or if you're from wherever.
If you want to travel and do the events, that's fine too.
Yeah, we would love to have you.
I just want to touch on that really quick. I know that back in the day, Brad ran the App Cup for War Machine. You're not running this one. Like, you're part of it, but you're not necessarily running this one. Is that correct?
I'm not in charge of this one. Bryce is in charge of this.
But still, in general, the original format where they've kept it very similar, I can attest to somebody who that War Machine was like my first competitive game, and with Brad running it, where the format's still the same, it was by far one of the best run. I don't know if you want to call it a league or a season or however you kind of want to talk about it, but the whole season was just a lot of fun. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're part of the MCP community. MCP is by far one of the best communities of any miniatures game I've ever played, hands down. And like that combination of a good community with a very good run, like seasonal event, it's some of the most fun that you're going to be able to have playing outside of like going to a con. So if you are in any of the surrounding areas, I mean, you really should come because it's going to be a really good time. So.
Well said, Jared. Well said. I think that we all agree with everything that you just stated. Okay, so speaking of the Appalachian Cup, there is going to be the first tournament in the Appalachian Cup is going to be on May the 31st of this year. So it's coming up next month. If you are interested in participating, that is going to be at Fabricators Forge in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I am going to attend. I look forward to seeing as many people as will be making it. That should be fun. I did kind of skip over. There is a tournament on May the 24th in Concord, North Carolina at the Mighty Meeple. So that is also upcoming. And if you are in that general vicinity, head on down there. It should be a lot of fun. Okay.
One more. Fred.
Those are...
Brad,
Fred, one more.
One more.
Brad, I have a question. Yeah. I have a question for you, Brad, if you'd like.
Uh-huh.
Are there venues that you can say right now that are going to be part of this Appalachian Cup?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Charleston will have qualifier, both Akron Brew Brawls, the fall one and the spring one, will be qualifiers. The LVO qualifier in Pittsburgh will be a qualifier, and I believe that there are plans for Columbus and maybe Cleveland if they can find a time and someone to run it. But that's, yeah. And then if other venues are interested, they can reach out to Bryce. And I don't know the good way to do that. He's in some Discords. You can. I'll tell you what. If you email the podcast, crit hit wild. Are there dashes in there at gmail.com? Let me check real quick. No dashes.
While you're looking at that, do you know if there's sorry, go ahead.
Crit hit wild, all one word, no dashes at gmail.com. If you email that, I will let Bryce know.
There we go. Okay.
Is there a do you know how long the season's supposed to last?
So it will the Akron Brew Brawl will be the last qualifier no matter what, and that's going to be in March of next year. So
yep.
From May to March, with finals maybe in April. And then one more tournament.
And then we roll right back into the next one.
Yeah. And but it's only every couple months. One more tournament on May 17th. There's going to be a tournament in Charleston, West Virginia at Lost Legion Games and Comics. Yeah, just standard tournament.
That is, I didn't even realize that had been. I think you posted that while we were doing this recording.
Absolutely. Yep. I just posted it.
Yeah, so I didn't have that one up yet. All right, well, thank you, Brad. Those are our upcoming tournaments. So I want to hop in here. We're going to spend a long time in our games we've played section because we all just got out of a big tournament. Or I should say myself, Brad, Jared, and Brandon did. Steven, we missed you. We missed you, buddy.
I'm sorry.
It was a very... that's all right. Oh, it was a real good tournament. But before we get into that, I wanted to point out that we had a suggestion from a listener. He goes by the name Grey Wolf with some numbers afterwards, and his suggestion was that, whatever Brad just said. And his suggestion was a very good one. It was that we go over our lists, maybe one at a time in each in an episode. Like instead of one of us pick an episode and do our entire list and give thought process as to why we have certain characters and what roles they play in the list structure. And that's a great idea. We should definitely do that. That's something that we want to add. We will probably do that next episode. That's going to be our plan going forward. We'll each do one of those in a segment to be named. All right. And also, we will not be doing trivia this week because we will likely be spending a great deal of time talking about the games that we've played. All right. Well, let's roll right into it. So we played a tournament this past Saturday at Lost Legion Games and Comics, and we had 10 people show up, which is a very good turnout for our tiny little store. The four of us, Brad, Brandon, myself, and Jared, all attended, as did JP, the other Brandon, who has been on this podcast. There was Borka. There was two people who I don't know their names, and the friend of Brandon and JP's Tony. I believe that's
so it was Chance and Mac.
Chance and Mac. Okay.
Yeah.
Who would like to speak first? Do I have any volunteers, or should I call on somebody?
I can go over my first game.
Now you know what it's like to be a
right.
teacher, Fred.
Just a crippling silence. All right, Jared, why don't you go over your first round?
Yeah, so my first round, I got paired up with Brandon, who, as Fred mentioned earlier, had been on the podcast before.
This is other Brandon.
This is the other Brandon. Yes. He, I think, typically is a Black Order player. One of the better Black Order players around. But this time he was wanting to try something a little bit different, and he brought an X-Men X-Force dual affiliated roster. I ended up playing Criminal Syndicate for this tournament because looking over, I've been playing quite a few different factions. I think Fred said on the last cast, I'm going through Hot Girl Summer or something like that. So I am just bouncing all over the place. So I did bring Criminal Syndicate to this one. They seem good in the current Crisis packet now that like Demons and some of the other E's are dead. So we ended up drawing up missing Merifus finds missing witnesses of the 16 threat secure, and then we also had I think it was cubes is what we ended up having for the extracts. It went pretty good. Turn one, I did an opener with Black Cat and Spectacular Spider-Man playing the Cat and Spider. I got a safe grab on the center extract, and then was able to take over one of the points on the left for the witnesses, and then tie up the one on the right, I believe, on witnesses. So I ended up going up on points, and then from there, it just kind of played a CS game. He got a little, I think it's a little bit of the Black Order kicking in for him. He got a little bloodthirsty and chased a little bit with Hulk on the right side of the board for me. He did get a good days on Bullseye, and he really went hard on Spectacular Spider-Man, trying to finish him off after he got an early days on Spectacular. But I think where he kind of chased a little bit of that attrition advantage on me, I was able to just keep the scoring going, just pretty much using Bill, Kingpin to throw people off points and Black Cat to stagger Hulk a couple times. So that ended up getting the score. I don't remember what the final score was. Does anybody have Longshanks pulled up?
I do. The final score in your game was 18-10.
18-10, yeah. So I just ended up getting a pretty good extract advantage. He had a couple times where his spacing was just slightly off to benefit from Storm's leadership to get like an initial like place double tap, but I think that's just where he's a little bit newer to the faction. But overall, he played really tight and then ended up being a really fun game. So that was my round one.
All right, thank you, Brett. Thank you, Jared. Sorry. Okay. I'll go over my first round here. So I played against JP. He's one of our friends from Princeton, and he was playing uh, Captain America: First Avenger, and his list was Captain America, Thor, and we were playing on Hammers and Riot Spark at 17 threat. He was playing Captain America, Thor, another 5 threat, Ulick. He was playing Ulick, which was an interesting choice. And then a 3 threat, who I don't fully remember who it was, but um, I was playing Web Warriors. So I was playing my base 9, which is Miles, Black Cat, and Spectacular Spider-Man. And then I had Rhino, and I had Spider Woman. Oh wait, is that correct? Yes, that is correct. That's 17 threat. This is a game where JP could not roll anything. He could not make anything happen. I got the advantage round one by I took 2 of the hammers, and I scored 3 of the Riot Spark terminals just because I was wider than he was. And then the way that I played this, I basically ran away from Thor the entire game. I just rotated away from Thor and fought where Thor wasn't, which was Ulick. Ulick could not land damage that was meaningful on Spider Woman because she basically hugged him as close as she could, and she was just rolling nothing but blanks. And when she's real close, she counts blanks in her defensive roll against physical attacks. So I was just blocking all of his attacks. And then Rhino got in the mix. Rhino threw him away because Ulick had a hammer, and then Rhino had 2 hammers, and Rhino was an unstoppable beast at that point. So this is a game that went pretty handily in my favor. At one point, he prevented me from winning on round 3, so I had 15 victory points because he managed to tie me on one of the secures. And what that meant is that I scored 7 victory points the next round, which put me at 22. So the final score in this game was 22-7. JP is a great opponent, and he's very good at the game. This is a case where he just did not roll anything, and I was rolling real hot. And also, I think it really did not benefit him to go tall where I went wide in this matchup. So I won my first round, and that's my first round of this tournament. Hey, Brandon, why don't you talk about your first round in this tournament?
Sure. I played Dormammu in this tournament, which is a list I've been working on for a while. Round 1, I played Tony, who was playing Midnight Suns. We played Deadly Meteors and Humans Deploy. At 18 threat, I played Dormammu, Bullseye, Weapon X, and Captain Marvel, Cosmic Avenger, I believe. That's her name. I don't remember. He played Immortal Hulk, Iron Fist, Shang-Chi, and Elsa Bloodstone with Elsa's leadership. He was pretty new to the game, so I got ahead pretty high on points. Being able to throw Immortal Hulk and keeping range with Dormammu, and every time attacking Dormammu, pushing Immortal Hulk away, kept kind of Immortal Hulk out of the game, which was really relevant. And then Weapon X is real good at hitting people and hurting them really bad. So that was pretty much just the game plan. And just being able to flip all the pay to flips rather easily. Dormammu moves really quick if you have like 3 power on him. Like he can get anywhere. With a medium move and a size 2 place, he literally just goes anywhere. So he was new. I did help him through some stuff, made sure he didn't do anything crazy. So this game did take a while. We were the last game done in round one, but spent a good amount of time just kind of talking through some stuff, making sure he knew what was going on, what everything did, um, and stuff of that nature. But overall, it was a good game. I ended up winning this game 19-9. Yeah, 19-9. Sorry, I was double checking.
Okay. So Weapon X. You say that he did real well in your list.
Yeah, every game I played him, he was amazing, and I played him 3 out of 4 games.
Okay. Okay.
He
Is it
was
because he
actually the
synergizes
best.
well?
So with Dormammu on turn one, he's charge eligible. All my secures and extracts are midline objectives, so there's always going to be someone on the midline from the opponent's team. If there's a secure on the midline, he can charge. If he's securing the extract, he now has a 7-die attack with a pierce, and being able to do that on turn one against anything is really good. Um, the whole list is built around being able to charge on turn one, so both that list was a little bit weird just because I really needed Captain Marvel um, in the matchup against if he brought Immortal Hulk, I really wanted Captain Marvel to be able to go the 4 defenses plus being able to go binary and stay in binary pretty well. With Dormammu giving the extra power, you don't really have to take her out of binary unless you really want to. Because especially if she's in a fight and she starts getting hit, she's pretty easily to stay in binary mode, which feels really good since you have a size 4 throw online every turn. So staying in binary, at least getting a size 4 throw, and then flipping back to gain some more power if need be, and place yourself a little bit better was really beneficial. But yeah, no, Weapon X did pretty much the Lord's work. In this game, it was really unfortunate for him because he was could get one attack into him, and then he was putting like 3 damage on him, and then I was able to activate him, heal 3 damage, healing factor 3. Like you really have to take him out because if you let him activate and heal 3, it just feels bad.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to finish the job with him, or you're never gonna finish it.
Yeah, and his well, the thing too, if like his even if you can't attack on turn one, a big thing with him is you can your spenders online on turn two, and then at that point it's 9 dice with wild get to do it again for free, and then wild hit deal a damage to everyone else within 2 of him. Um,
Oh my
so it's just
goodness.
yeah, so it's free damage, two not two 9 die attacks as long as you're sitting on a secure objective, and then you get another attack after that. So like even if you don't attack on one and you get it, like there's reasonable like if you attack on one. So you get charge up, you can attack, you have 1 power, you get 2 more in the power phase. You can do Berserker Rage again, which gets you the 4 power on 7 dice, and then you can do 2 9 dice attacks if you get 2 wilds with uncontrollable weapon. So he just does the Lord's work by himself, really, for a 3 threat. Being able to secure the secures makes it where he's not a massive vulnerability. Especially where you can control to play. Like my list plays, I think at most 4 extracts. So like you can kind of the amount of games, which will come up later, the amount of times in this game where very few points were scored in a round to no points scored in a round is crazy.
Just because he can't interact with extract objectives.
At one point, there were 3 extracts sitting right beside him. Not in this game, but in one of the other games. But in this game, the far left Inhuman Weapon, I don't know if it ever got picked up. Like it was where he was, and he was sitting on the secure right beside it, and it was legitimately dangerous to move you over to pick it up, to pick up that
Because he
weapon.
just kill you.
Yeah, because he was there
All
and
right.
he was in berserker mode. So
Okay, well, thank you, Brandon. That sounds like a heck of a game. Brad,
Yep.
why don't you talk about your first game?
Okay, I played Mac, who's playing Dormammu, And we got Unexpected Guests and Imkron Crystal played 17 points. I had Apocalypse, Psylocke as Famine, Colossus as War, and Blob as Pestilence. And he played Dormammu, Baron Zemo, Beta Ray Bill, and Nebula. On the first turn, I moved Colossus up to grab the extract. And then he moved Bill twice and threw a size 4 trailer at Colossus, who could not brace because he had no power. I made him pay for that because Psylocke was over on that side. So she attacked a couple times and got him to 1 health left. So Apocalypse flipped the point on the other side and then did that last damage and dazed Bill, turn 1. Except he was a little too close and Dormammu dazed him in return. On turn 1.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
On turn 1.
On turn 1. Unfortunately for him, he picked up an extract, flipped 1 point, and his other extract and point that were on his side went untouched. Just nothing happened with them. So I went up 4-2 on turn 1. And then it was at this exact moment when I thought, he's going to kill all my stuff with Dormammu. I need to score out as quickly as possible. So I very heavily focused on the scenario this game and not so much attacking. I did kill Bill with Psylocke because that's really easy to do. But other than that, I was trying to take away his activation, so I dazed Nebula before she got to go 1 turn. I had taken Bill off the table. I don't think he got a second activation. And Apocalypse was jumping all over the table doing points. So like the extract and pay to flip that he didn't do on his side, Apocalypse got both of those second turn and was standing there. Because Dormammu had went, like I had killed Bill. Dormammu went and I ended up with 4 damage on Apocalypse, so he didn't die, which is good. And so I hard played scenario. Zemo did a lot of work. Dormammu did pretty good work, but I was just moving over the table, flipping as many things as I could, picking up as many things as I could, and I end up winning this game 19-9.
Wow. So you were playing Apocalypse non-attrition. You were playing scenario Apocalypse.
I was very much doing scenario, yeah. I didn't make
Interesting.
I didn't make a single attack on Dormammu this game.
Probably a good idea. I don't know.
I either had to ignore him or try to kill him.
Right.
Those were my options. So
that's what you could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say, touch on that really quick, because me and Brad talked about it post game. If you're out there listening and you want to play Apocalypse or you're wanting to dive in, one, you should probably message Brad, because I feel like Brad's list is pretty optimized. Would you agree at this point? It's pretty well. There's not very much else you can do to it.
Yeah, there's nitpicky stuff. I've got Cable in there. For 19.
I think that he's really good, though.
19 points specifically, and I dropped Beast for it. But I kept Deadpool, and some people would argue to switch them, maybe someone else besides Cable. I don't know. There's little things you can do, but it really works for me.
And if you don't browse launch hanks and stuff, or watch too many videos, if you primarily just listen to casts and you want a good place to start, I think the Brad's list is pretty well optimized for APOC. The other thing I want to touch on is if you are a newer player, APOC is probably the hardest affiliation to learn. I think that's kind of it can be widely agreed upon because you have so many mechanics. but you also doubly. I think we did talk about this post game. I don't think that this was an intentional mistake. I think it was an innocent mistake, but there were some missed hexes going out from the Dormammu player because those wild effects are not a May. They have to go out,
Yes. Yeah.
and that could have generated a little bit more power or healing for APOC. So just if you are going to be a new APOC player, just also I think a lot of people think about the Horseman tokens and or the Horseman cards and the tokens and everything and all the new superpowers that you get, and that in itself is a little hard to learn and overwhelming. But then there's an additional layer of you have to know your opponent's stuff very, very well, which is true for playing the game in general. But you really have to know your opponent's triggers. That way you know whether or not you should be getting a condition, because I mean, that can really add up to a lot of healing and power for the APOC players. So
Yeah.
just a little shout out there for that.
Absolutely. Well said, Jared. It's almost as if you should be hosting this.
You're far more charismatic than I ever could be, Fred. You're very lovable.
That is
You're the perfect
that is
host.
a lie.
It's not a lie. I'm so proud of you for what you've done on this cast.
All right. Well, thank you, Brad, for your round one, and let's move into the second round of this tournament. Hey, Jared, why don't you go first?
Yeah, absolutely. So for my second round, I played against Chance, and he was playing Avengers, and I believe he brought Steve 1, Thor, Shang-Chi, and Beta Ray Bill were his 4 characters. And I played Kingpin, Rhino, Beta Ray Bill, Black Cat, and Bullseye. And we played on, I always get this one mixed up. I think it's Unexpected Guest, Crash Wedding. Is that correct? The extract one?
I don't remember.
I'm
That
pretty
is-
sure
I'm
this
looking
one.
at it says
that
unexpected
is
guests.
that is an extract.
Yeah, okay. Because I think there's Unexpected Guest, Crash Wedding is the extract, and then there's like Wedding Crash or something like that for the the Secure. They got 2 weddings in there. I don't know why. But we played Unexpected Guest in Infinity Formula. We played at 17. And this game was a very tight game. I was concerned several times throughout the game trying to play it. I think I deployed Kingpin and Rhino on my left flank, and I deployed Bill, Bullseye, and Black Cat I played them on my right flank, and I played Kingpin and Rhino on my left flank. I moved up and took one of the extracts, and I put Kingpin on my lower left Infinity Formula. And this is probably a positional error for me, but for the most part, I at some point I probably should have rotated maybe in rounds 2 and 3 and kind of thought ahead a little bit, because I really got to a point where Kingpin was just kind of dawdling, and I probably really could have used him somewhere else. He had a ton of power to play for All According later, but I think in general I had a positional error, and Rhino and Kingpin, I kind of wish I had them in the mix just a little bit more. He normally, when I'm playing, I feel like with all my throws and staggers that I have in the roster, that I have pretty good control over board state for the most part. But he definitely outclassed me with that. With between Shang-Chi giving me stun, pulling me off points, Bill throwing me, Thor throwing me. He just really Steve pushing me. He had a really fantastic game plan for board control. I ended up going up a little bit early in the beginning, but then he started to get some good dazes on Bullseye and Black Hat. He got a good daze on Bill to try to start the scoring to keep more parity, and he actually caught up with me at one point. I think I might have only been a point or 2 ahead. The game really came down to I had Bill rotate to my left side of the board in order to rotate Rhino back to the right side of the board, because I had Rhino Aubrey online and ready to go. And he made one charge of Shang-Chi, failed to kill Bill with his attacks, and then flowed like water back onto the point. That let Bill live and give me the capability to rotate Rhino out. He also, we had 2 of these. Probably my favorite highlight of the game was I had Black Cat, who had stolen an extract off of Shang-Chi, and it was coming down to where I just needed a few points to win, I ran her off to the corner of the board. I think I did a steal, grappling hook, and then one move. Shang-Chi was able to move, and he had to eyeball it, and he made a charge. No, I take that back. He made a charge eyeballing it, thinking that he could get to Black Cat. And he was just a hair out. We had to move some terrain just to get everything lined up correct. So he had just missed the charge to be able to kill Black Cat. I think after moving charge. And then I did the same thing where I was taking Rhino from one corner of the Infinity Formula over to the bottom right corner of the table to try to hit Thor and throw him off the point and take it to win. And I was just short after a short move and the 3 power cost was it Stampede to move him medium. I was just short of 3 to try to hit Thor. So we both were eyeballing it and just came up short on some game-winning plays, which that's like the most fun Marvel games you can have. So, but eventually I did get a Rhino Aubrey off on Thor, and it got to the point where he had to kill Rhino to get the extract off me to keep me from winning, and he failed to kill Rhino by, I think, 2 or 3 health, and I was able to keep the extract, and with that aggressive onto a point with Rhino still being healthy to finally score out the game. The game ended up going 2016, so you can see what a tight game we ended up having. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Shout out to Chance; he was a great opponent.
All right, that sounds like a real good. It sounds like a classic Criminal Syndicate game, if I'm to be perfectly honest.
It was. I definitely need to get better at my rotations, but other than that, yeah, it was a pretty fun game.
All right, well, I'll talk about my second round. My second round opponent was Tony. Tony is Tony is a good player, and he generally makes the correct choices, but it takes him a while to do it, and that's going to come up later in this in this game. We were playing on Inhumans Deploy Advanced Weaponry and on Riot Spark. So there were 4 extracts across the middle line. So my list, this gave me a chance to try out a little something that I haven't used much, and that is Namor and Amazing Spider-Man as 2 safe grabs. A ploy that, all things considered, honestly, was probably not worth it. It was probably too many points thrown to a what is a good tactic, but it was still probably too many points thrown towards that. We were playing at 17 threat, and I was playing Amazing Spider-Man, Namor, Miles Morales, and a 4 threat. It was Spider-Woman. And Tony was playing Elsa Bloodstone, Man-Thing, Shang-Chi, who was a house this game, Moon Knight, and Iron Fist. So the first round, I safe grabbed 2 of the objectives, and I end up stealing a 3rd objective with Miles. And I go up pretty heavily. I think I score 5 to his 2. I think that's how it shook out. And then he got in on me on my Riot Spark with Elsa Bloodstone and with Shang-Chi on round 2. And Shang-Chi, he's got a lot of rules on his card, and every time that his turn came up, Tony was trying to parse just how Shang-Chi worked. And he got it correct each time, but it was taking up a lot of his time. And the way this game played out is he beat up Amazing Spider-Man, who stayed alive through a lot more than he probably should have, and being able to re-roll his defense dice the way that he can, and to force the opponent to re-roll their attack dice is an amazing ability. Amazing Spider-Man's fantastic. He may be who I put in my list more than Namor instead of... that probably should have been happening anyway. I should have made that change a while ago. But Amazing Spider-Man does go down in round 2 after being attacked by Shang-Chi and Elsa Bloodstone, and then getting Siege of Darkness.
and I still score more points than him, but it's less. And he actually starts to catch up on me on round 3 because he's starting to win on the attrition. I'm holding my own with Spider Woman. In fact, Iron Fist, I don't think does damage to Spider Woman this entire game. I think he stuns her and fails to do any damage because she keeps real close to him, and she counts blanks and rolls pretty well. She rolled pretty well for her defenses. So that fight, basically nothing happened. We basically slap fight each other. And I am getting further and further ahead. And there comes a point where Tony is about to activate Iron Fist. And I hit the clock to go onto my time because he basically has no time left. And I let him play out that activation, and I ended up winning at the end of that activation anyway. And that was, oh boy, what was the score? It was 16-11. So Tony, he's a good opponent, and I like him. He tends to make the correct choices. It's just he takes a while to do it. And this was a good game, but I think again we were the last ones to finish up in round 2. All right, let's move on to Brandon. Why don't you talk about who is this opponent that you played against?
He was actually an
Arabic
asshole
Youth?
the entire match.
Yeah, it sounds right. That sounds correct.
You better shore that up. People are gonna be confused.
We were playing. So me and Brad played each other in round 2. We played Hammers and Intrusions at 18 because Brad got to pick that number, and he always picks that number.
I do always pick that number. I just want to say before Brandon continues that if you're listening, think about the last time you had to play Dormammu in a tournament. How rare that is. I played 2.
Yeah.
Played 2 Dormammus back to back. Okay, Brandon, go ahead.
Intrusions, Hammers, 18. I played Dormammu, Hulk 1, and Shang-Chi. He played Psylocke, Wolverine, Colossus, Apocalypse, and that's about as much of the game that was interesting for my half, so I'll let Brad talk.
So Wolverine stunted on Shang-Chi.
The amount of I thought about this later. The amount of wilds that Wolverine rolled into Shang-Chi was insane.
No, I only rolled a couple. Like 1 per attack, but that's all I needed.
2 days
That's an
in, you
extra
rolled 4
damage each
wilds.
I don't think I did, but maybe.
Yeah. He only had like 2 health left, but that roll alone had like 4.
Oh, well, that's why. If that's accurate.
It wasn't as
doesn't
relevant,
matter.
but it was.
Yeah.
Because I remember flipping it as you were counting it up, and I was like, he's dazed. This has been Wolver.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's fun to count up how many successes there are. So Wolverine just, stunted on Shang-Chi, which is great. Brandon kept leaving Wolverine at 1. He also left Colossus at 1 at a key moment where then Colossus could bodyguard Apocalypse and keep him from taking damage. Hulk did very little this game. He left Psylocke at 1. That's what Hulk did. And Psylocke lived almost the entire game after that. I ran away from Dormammu as much as possible and tried to score points. And it worked.
This is you and your Apocalypse objective-based game. This is abnormal.
No, this is what I do. There's an old Magic article, and I'm sure Brandon is familiar, called "Who's the Beatdown?" And the whole point of the article is that you sit down across from your opponent and you figure out, are you the beatdown player or are you the control player? And it just depends on if you think you can outrace them on damage, you do, and if you don't, you play the other game. So that's what I did. I see Dormammu and a Hulk in this game, and I go, oh no, I can't fight that. Not very well. I should try to score points. So that's what I did. I did actually daze Hulk though, because Apocalypse can
I
do
mean,
that. Apocalypse and
is
Psylocke
this
can do that.
Dormammu was the
Is
only
this-
character I had alive at the end of the game.
That
for
is
the
true.
record.
That is true.
Oh wow. Is this Immortal Hulk or is this Hulk? Like
Regular
Six
Hulk.
Thread Hulk.
Regular Hulk.
There you go.
Okay.
The good
Okay.
Hulk.
Regular, yeah.
Yeah, the good one.
Yeah, Hulk. If Hulk rolls average, it's probably a little bit closer of a game.
Yeah.
But he basically just sat on the left-hand side of the board and twiddled his thumbs the entire match.
Yeah.
While Wolverine did things that we can't discuss in the open public to Shang-Chi on the other side of the board.
He sure did. The game ends up 20-10 with me winning.
Okay. All right.
How I scored 10
Uh,
points is immaculate, for the record.
Well, that was our round 2. So, well, let's go into our round 3. Hey, Jared, why don't you talk about that asshole that you played in round 3?
Also, for the record, this was my shortest match, and we played 5 rounds. Or 5 turns. We went to turn 5.
Brandon, I'm cutting you off. I'm cutting you off. I made a statement, and now I sound like a complete asshole unless Jared tells you that he played me.
Well, yeah,
I
you were
did.
the asshole.
I
We
did
know
play
this.
Fred. I did. You got to shore it up, man. You got to shore up. People are gonna be like, "Who they play?" No, I did play Fred, who's not an asshole. One of the things I do want to talk about really quick before I do jump in the game. Brandon's list. I think I played it against it a couple weeks ago, and he absolutely clapped me with it. That's like where I said that I think Brad's list is very optimized. So if like you want a good APOC list, reach out to Brad. I think it's good. If you want Dormammu, where you can take everything. Like I was honestly hoping I dodged Dorm like this tournament. Dorm and APOC, those are the two I wanted to dodge. But where Brad's list is optimized, like Dorm can take anything. So I'm not gonna say Brad's list is optimized because I don't know for certain. But I think it's like a very inspired list. So Dorm, I don't like. People think he's trash. I don't. Brad's shown that he's not as bad as what people think that he is. I think he's probably the middle of the pack. You can counterpoint if you want that, Brandon. But in general, I think his list is very inspired. So if you want like a good Dorm list to start, like I think he's got a really, really good one going. So I just wanted to kind of like shout that out really quick.
He's definitely better than he was, and like the new scenarios do help a lot. There are a lot of slower scenarios. Like he wasn't good into E's because the other people who played E's fought better. And like you can't kind of go all in on fighting, so you have to have some kind of play. And there's some really good models. And like Dormammu getting around the board really is much more beneficial now than it was before. Because like I said, he can get everywhere with 2 medium moves and a size 2 plays. Like he can go from left to right on the D's in one turn and just be in the way. And he has 22 health, so he's a pain in the ass to deal with.
Yep. But going into the game, yeah, I did play Fred. We played, I believe it was Spider Infected and Extremis.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think it was your Extremis and my Spider Infected. We played at 17. And I took Kingpin Lizard. What did I take? I took Kingpin Lizard, Namor, Black Cat Bullseye. And what did you take?
I took Miles, Cat, Spectacular Spider-Man, Rhino, and Agent Venom. And we will discuss that later.
Yeah, so I deployed with Lizard and Kingpin on my left flank. I put Bullseye in the middle of the board to take the back Extremis, and then I did do the safe grab with Namor, moving up, taking the middle Spider Infected, and then moving to the right Extremis. Then I also put Black Cat on that side as well, just to kind of double down my ability to rotate top if I wanted to with Namor. And then I think you ended up having Spectacular on your close Extremis, and then you committed. I'll let you talk about the commitment to my left, your right.
So my game plan going into this, I had an abnormal game plan. I thought to myself, Uh, he went with both Namor and Black Cat sitting on what was my left, his right. So I thought to myself, I'm gonna commit hard to the right. I'm gonna move my entire team there and try to take out both Kingpin and Lizard. Uh, the idea being that if I can do that, if I succeed in doing that, I can prevent him from winning on round 3 and get on top of him on attrition, and then hold out the win. Uh, this doesn't happen. We talked about it later. Kingpin and Lizard together is just too much beef, and I don't hit hard enough. And Agent Venom, while he can hit really hard, Jared did an excellent job of preventing power from getting onto him. Like at one point, you attacked him, and you succeeded in pushing and stunning him, but you did no damage. Like, and it
Yeah,
was the best
yeah.
case scenario for you.
I got lucky a
So,
couple times hitting wild pushes and stuns, and
yeah,
also not giving you any power. I think that prevented Miles from web swinging one time, and I know
yes, it did.
I got it going to Agent Venom. So yeah, like we talked about it. If it had been like Lizard and like Black Cat, or maybe like Kingpin Bullseye or something like that on the left flank, that definitely that refused flank would have definitely worked for you. It was just the two 6 and 7 health damage reduction characters kind of made it difficult for you. So
And we had discussed it after the fact that if instead what Rhino and Agent Venom should have been Namor and Moon Knight. And if
yeah,
that had been the case, Namor, when he hits, he ignores your damage reduction. And that would have been huge.
yeah, he's done
Huge
the
on that
Lord's
die.
work. Yeah, he's really like these dang birds are popping off over here. He's yeah, Namor. We played a couple practice games at my house now, and Namor getting that damage reduction through. That's a huge component of Criminal Syndicate staying healthy and stuff. And Namor just skirts right by that. So he's actually very very good into the matchup. I think so.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. Anyway, what ends up happening is Jared ends up winning on round 3. He wins 16-9. So this really didn't go well for me. Um, I also here's something else. I was hoping in this tournament that the pair down would lose at least once, and we would have a 3-rounder, because I had plans this evening with my sister who's in town, who I really didn't want to cancel on because I don't get to see my niece very often because she lives so far away. So I ended up having to drop after the 3rd round, and I feel really guilty about it. That's not something that I usually do, but it's something that I had to do this time. So this was my last game. I lost this game, and I then dropped like a real scrub.
You heard it
Family
here.
comes
So
first.
You heard it here first, folks. Fred will drop from your tournament after his first loss.
oh boy, that is exactly what happened. I feel real bad about it.
Family comes first, Fred. Family comes
His
first. You're like Vin,
first
you're
loss
like
in
Vin
his
Diesel.
last 2 tournaments were his last games.
That's true. That's true. Okay. Brandon, why don't you talk about your round 3?
My last 2 rounds were battle of superiority. This one was Brandon versus Brandon. We played. He played Storm X-Men. We played 20 points. Oh, what were the objectives? Give me 1 second. We played Legacy Virus and Wedding Party. So it was, and we played 20 threat. He played Hulk, Storm, Beast. Oh God, so many other models. But the moral of this game was this one was an interesting one. I played Dormammu, Killmonger, which is very relevant, Weapon X, and Captain Marvel. Yes, Captain Marvel, because he had a Hulk in his list, and the best counter to Hulk that I have is literally just Captain Marvel. She just kind of does the Lord's work in most of those scenarios. His other model was he had Hulk, Bishop, Beast, Storm, 12, 16, another fourth red? Wolverine? Yes, we also had Wolverine. Regular Wolverine. This was an interesting game. We played 7 turns. Um,
Oh God.
yeah. So I ended up getting Hulk off the table because Captain Marvel and Dormammu can just take Hulk off the table. Not before he did a lot of damage. The problem was once Hulk was gone, there was no one else to really do a lot of damage to Dormammu. He did flip Dormammu, but again, he had 12 health on his backside, so it was kind of hard. The mystic attacks from Dormammu into Wolverine was something that was relevant. Energy attacks into Beast. This list also has a lot of different types of attacks. You can really kind of punish them for playing different ones. He at one point had to take Beast from the right side to the left side, and then at that point had nobody on the right side and everybody else had moved to the left. So his entire team was on the left-hand side, where I had Dormammu, Captain Marvel, and X-23. Killmonger was on the right and eventually had to come over to the left. But again, me being able to move from side to side and getting at least one attack in was pretty relevant free damage compared to him having to spend 2 moves, sit, move again. That became relevant. After Hulk was dead, I was able to usurp the throne on Wolverine. A usurp turn on Wolverine is real, like a dazed Wolverine with Killmonger having so many dice on energy was just Wolverine did not survive. So we took him out. We got the usurp points, which is the only reason I was able to go to the 7th round. And at that point, Killmonger was holding 2 viruses on a wedding thing. Weapon X was dead. I think Dormammu was dead by this point. I think it was just Weapon X and Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel was able to, and he was on one side. I had Killmonger with 4 points on the other side. We went to turn 7. The game was relatively over at that point, but I took Captain Marvel to the other side. Not to kill Bishop, because I did want the points, because I did only score 10 in round 2, so I was trying to get as many points as possible for tiebreaker purposes. This game finished up 16-15 at the end of round 7.
That is so close.
Yeah, because I believe he did kill or daze Captain Marvel, so he was able to get, and Bishop had a virus, so he was getting 3 points on the side, and I had 4 points on the other side. So it was 12-12 going into round 7 and finished up 16-15. It was a very fun game. It was a very good game. I love playing the better Brandon. It makes everything very enjoyable.
All right. Well, that sounds like a devastatingly rough game. 7 rounds, ending 16-15.
Yep. So far, we've
All
played
right.
6 rounds, 5 rounds, 7 rounds.
Yeah. Jeez. Is that what Dormammu does? Is he just like he's not a closer? Is that his biggest problem?
Yeah, the spinder's not being the best. Like his attacks aren't the best, but like he does stay alive. You are really just taking other people out and controlling the board. But yeah, I mean his main attack should have 7 dice, and he should probably have 10 or 12 on his like big attack, which is unfortunate, but it just is what it is.
All right. Hey Brad, why don't we hear about your round 3?
I played.
Yeah, this is the one I'm excited for. Holy crap!
I played.
Oh yeah, this one.
I played Chance, and we drew my Imcron crystals and his Inhumans Deploy, which is also in my list. And I picked 18, so I played Apocalypse with Famine, Psylocke, War, Wolverine, and Pestilence Colossus, like I almost always do at 18. And he picks Thor 1 Leadership, which is really good against Apocalypse, let me tell you. I could not stick conditions on him for very long. And he also played Mighty Thor, Beta Ray Bill, and Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Yes, and Voodoo. So this game was very close the entire time. We played the last couple rounds with Jared and Fred hovering over this game, watching it.
We finished up real quick, and we were watching your game very closely because your game would determine whether or not we had a fourth round.
Yeah, because I was paired down. So Chance had lost to
I
Jared.
didn't really care if there was a round or not, but my God, when we came over, it was so close. Like the board state was insane.
Yeah.
So,
It really was. It was like the close. It was on a pin's on a needle. How close this game was.
Yeah. So Psylocke's almost dead at one point, but then she famine teleports, short moves, hits Bill with a Cybo, and then hits Bill with the builder to kill him and flip a point. She also flipped the other point on the way, or at least tried to. I don't know if I succeed or not. Colossus moves across the table at one point, barely gets in. I spend power to do his spender, and then realize I don't have power to try to flip the point, which keeps me from winning the game. Right before that, Chance had... Do you guys remember what his mistake before that was? Because it wasn't the voodoo thing.
So it was Voodoo, I think, because he spent 2 attacks attacking your Wolverine and failed to kill him, and then possessed him, and that could have been he could have just possessed him and then moved and flipped points.
That was
yeah, it was a.
I thought that was the.
Oh, go ahead.
I thought that was the later mistake that.
No, that happened right before. No, that happened right before you went with Colossus.
Okay.
Because you both did it like back to back. Because I think he did a staff of Legba, and he could have just, to Fred's point, like he had the point in front of him and behind him, not flipped, but there was nobody on it, and he just failed to possess flip. So yeah.
Well, Wolverine was on the point. They were both on the same point.
Yeah.
But the other one was free, so you'd have to roll for one of them. Anyway, if that succeeds, he probably wins the game. Then I did something to screw up and keep from winning the game. So we are tied 16-16 going into the final round. He has a flipped Mighty Thor. He has Voodoo, who's still healthy. He has a Thor that maybe hasn't even taken any damage the whole game and has an extract. And then Bill's gone. I have a healthy Wolverine because he had just been carrying an extract. Colossus was still healthy. He may have been flipped. I don't know. I still had Apocalypse, and Psylocke died. And he goes with Mighty Thor, and maybe Daze is one of my characters. I don't remember. I think she failed to Daze a character.
She was the one that killed Psylocke. She went first and killed Psylocke.
Oh, she went first and killed Psylocke. Okay, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
then attacked Colossus and didn't Daze him. And then Voodoo had 2 health left, so Colossus on his second attack got him and flipped a point and made him drop the extract that Wolverine had. Then he went with Thor, who I think flipped, maybe attacked and dazed Wolverine. Because I think I never got to activate Wolverine.
No, you did. You actually had a miserable war attack into Voodoo because he was the one that failed to kill him.
Oh, okay.
He whipped hard.
Yeah, I think on 2 war attacks he couldn't do any damage.
Yeah. And then no. He did he not go and kill Thor, or did Thor move a second time? Did
I think
Did Thor flip, move, flip, move, flip?
no. I think
I,
the turn before Thor moved, flipped, and then I think that turn Thor went into Colossus trying to get the extract off of him and didn't do it,
All right. And then
and flipped.
I had one model left. I had Apocalypse, and he had 3 out of 4 of the pay to flips, and there was an extract lane on the ground. So, and Apocalypse was on the one that was already mine. So I famine place, flip that one because there's no one contesting it, move, flip one that's uncontested, move, manage to flip the one that is contested and pick up the extract, winning the game 22-18. So in one activation, Apocalypse flips 3 points and picks up an extract.
That's a really
Huge
good one
swing.
for him, right? Because if you have enough power, you can interact with all 4 points.
He
His
can,
activation.
yes, yeah. If he's
Yeah.
on one of them, he can act. He can do all of them.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I was thinking. I asked Jared to check if Chance had the tactics card that let Mighty Thor activate a second time in the round and then die. Because I was thinking that if he had that, he had a chance of winning the game. But
Yeah,
he did not have that tactics card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a rules question, Brad. So if he were to have possessed Wolverine and Wolverine is on that point, when he's possessed, they don't contest, right? So
No.
do you not roll the 50-50?
He has been updated. Voodoo's been updated. He
Uh-huh.
only makes them drop extracts and they can't pick up extracts.
See, that's where I've been out of the game too long.
Yeah, the contest thing is gone off of his card.
I gotcha.
But
Okay.
God, that was too good. That was too
if
much.
if for some reason he could not contest, then you would not roll the die for him.
Gotcha.
I think Colossus was still on the point at that point, so he still would have had to roll.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. All right. So that was our round 3.
I also want to say, after round 2 beating Brandon, I got to 10 consecutive wins at tournaments and got a new badge on Longshanks. Woo woo.
Nice.
Optimized.
All right.
It's optimized.
All right. Let's move into round 4. Jared and Brad, the two of you are undefeated at this point.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hold off on you. Brandon, why don't we hear from you about what your round 4 pairing was? Is Brandon there? We may not have Brandon. Okay. So I guess Jared and Brad. Why don't you talk about your round?
What about yours, Fred?
I think I already covered this, that I dropped everyone. I know.
Yeah.
I'm a real loser. I dropped at this point.
Jared,
so let's hear from Brad and
Jared
and Jared.
Jared and I play.
Yep.
I got priority, so of course I picked my secures because his are bad. And we draw the one that we have in common, which is Wedding Party, and then I draw his Struggle for the Cube, and he picks 20 points, which is fine with me because I can play the same list I played the last 2 rounds plus Toad as Death. And Jared, what did you play?
Yeah, so I played Kingpin, Black Cat, Spectacular Spider-Man, Rhino, Bullseye, and Bill. And you want to go over what you brought?
I already did, Jared.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry, I was spaced out for a second. Sorry. Yeah, so that's what I brought. I picked 20. Me and Brad have both talked about it a little bit throughout the tournament, that we both were scared of the other one to a certain degree. But what'd you say? You felt like it was just about 50-50. It felt like it the whole game too.
Yeah. It's us both being scared probably meant that it was a pretty even matchup.
Yeah. So my deployment, I did deploy Spectacular and Black Cat center just in case he didn't go for the center extract, which I figured he would. I played Bill on my right flank along with Bullseye and Kingpin, and then I had Rhino off on the left flank. And he did, in fact, go with Toad first. Picking it up, I figured he would. And then he really matched my aggression on taking extracts. So I believe I went with Bill, and I went and took his side extract on the cubes. And that led him to. Which one did you take next?
I took
It was mine.
It
right?
was yours with Colossus. Yep.
Yeah, Colossus. If you haven't figured it out yet, Colossus double medium moving is the exact same thing as Bill doing it, which is great for diving your opponent's extracts. And also, it was very smart on his play too, because you typically want. It was more risky for me to do it because I was going into War Wolverine and Colossus, so there is like a potential to take Bill out there with some luck. I did not have the tools to take on Colossus. So when you do dive for your opponent's extract, you want to have a beefier character into something that's not going to be able to retaliate very hard. And I could not. So he did very good with that. That led me to take my Black Cat and take her to his home extract as well. I was hoping that she would live through that, which she did end up living. But then he took Apocalypse and full sended across the other side of the table and took mine. So it ended up going 3-2 his favor with all the diving on extracts, which I did not see coming. It was something to witness. And then did you tied up the left side secure with good Psylocke placement, I believe. No. I screwed myself with Rhino aggressive. Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah, you aggressive Rhino into a spot where Spectacular couldn't get there anymore.
Yep. So I did mess that up. So we ended up tying on the left. I did score the right side thanks to the Kingpin's leadership. So the score went, I think, 5-4, right?
Yeah, you were one ahead. Whatever it was.
Yeah, and the whole game too. Like he played so tight
4-3
that he 4-3. Yeah. He kept parity. Well, not pretty much parity. He was typically 1 to 2 points behind me the entire game, which is not where you want to be playing CS into Apocalypse. I think that pretty well covered round 1. Do you want to cover round 2? If you can remember it.
I don't remember round by round. I remember that I did a lot of chasing Rhino this game.
I think round 2
killed Toad, right?
Not round 2. I think
Dazed Toad.
Yeah, I think pretty much rounds 2 and 3. It came to like Bullseye doing some much needed chip damage to Colossus with I Never Miss to try to get damage through on him, which helped me get the days on him on that side of the board. This is another example of me not rotating. I really lost the left side hard, which Apoc's over there. That's kind of what you expect. But if I had rotated, I had the right side mopped up. If I had maybe rotated Bill, there could have been maybe some potential for scoring on that secure. But again, I didn't. My rotation, I think, is pretty off. But I did get a Rhino Aubrey off on Apocalypse, and I threw APOC, which I think helped. You might not have felt. I felt like it helped
it
on
did.
his.
It helped.
Yeah. So, but pretty much he chased Rhino somehow. Even though like we were playing secures, most of our models ended up on opposite corners of the table with extracts. The game pretty well boiled down to I got very lucky with Rhino going and dazing Psylocke and picking up 2 cubes and then positioning myself into the corner of the table, which eked out the win for me. But is there anything else you want to add to that? I think that pretty well sums it up.
Yeah. Apocalypse killed Spectacular Spider-Man and didn't do much else in the game, which is just a testament for Jared keeping him out of the game. Like I just couldn't ever get any good use out of him. Um, I also abandoned Colossus to his fate on that secure and didn't send anyone over there to help him. Um, and then, yeah, that's the days on Psylocke means Psylocke can't daze, or I could think KO Rhino at that point and get those 2 points back. And then I win the game if that happens. So that
Yeah.
secured the game for him. He was already like edging out the victory, but like that made sure he got it. It ended up 18-15 in his favor.
It was a good game. Brad's always a really good opponent. At least you got the 10, right? So the one thing I do want to touch on real quick is that this game was like a masterclass of like to me like what to do if you find that something's off in the game. Brad's always like a good opponent, and like me and him, I play a little bit more on and off, or I have over the years. But me and him have played Marvel since pretty much when Marvel came out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how long you played the game, you're still going to forget things about the game. And the best thing you can do if you're maybe newer to tournaments or you're unsure about going out and playing, which you should because they're a blast. But if you are maybe like a newer player, don't feel bad if you do forget stuff because we've been playing for a long time and we both forgot rounds 1, maybe 2 to take cube damage and gain power.
Yeah, we forgot for 2 rounds, so we just started on round 3.
Yeah. Yeah, we were so locked in that we completely forgot about the extract rules, and even like experienced players can forget about it. But I say masterclass because me and him both looked at each other. We were both like, well, we haven't done it. Let's just not do it. Like, because I think we were already a turn or 2 into that round, and it could have impacted the round. So we're like, let's just leave it alone. And then starting next round, we will then follow through on it. And I mean, it was real easy. We just talked it out, agreed on it, and then went forward from there. So that stuff happens. Don't worry about it if it does, because the community is really good. Just look at your opponent, and you should be able to hash it out no problem. Like it really is easy to just move forward when you just come to an agreement.
Also, Jared,
so I just wanted to kind of shout that out because I feel like that happens. And yeah,
Jared, if we draw either of my other secures, this is a very different game too.
Absolutely.
Intrusions is low scoring, and it's impossible to keep Apocalypse out of that game. And then my other one is a pay to flip because it's Imcron.
I think Imcron, I don't like it, but I think now I would like to play on it. I think that's not great for me. I think I drew the best one for me, clearly, yeah, by far. But
100%.
I think I still prefer to take maybe Imcron and try that out versus APOC. Intrusions, I think you got me 100%. I was really hoping to not draw that.
So
yep, very good game.
You got lucky at the beginning of the game too.
I did, yeah.
I mean, he didn't even go and get both of the secures on turn 1, and you still lost this game, Brad. I'm putting this on you.
No,
I did terrible positioning. I'm still learning. We're getting there with CS.
All right. Well, so that was the final round, which means that Jared is the winner. But before we are done with this tournament, we have to hear about Brandon's 4th round.
The more important final round of the event was Dormammu versus Dormammu.
Yeah, it was the Dormammu mirror match. Tell us all about how this went.
We played Mayor Fisk and Montesi. I feel like it was.
That is correct. That is correct.
Mayor Fisk and Montesi. We played 16 threat. I played Dormammu, Captain Marvel, and Weapon X. He played Dormammu, Namor, and Baron Zemo. So he was all in on the rerolls. That's fine.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Which is fine because Captain Marvel can throw Dormammu. So he gave up all the points on turn 1. So he just let me score them like 2 for like 6 points on turn 1. And he just scored 1. So like early on it was Like there was a real play where I could have just decided to play for points and not fight as much. I chose not to do that. He really targeted Dormammu, where I got Zemo off the table early. Captain Marvel went binary on turn 2 and threw Dormammu twice, dazing and killing Zemo. I actually think Zemo made like one attack the entire game. He didn't do much in this game. Once Zemo was gone, he kind of moved Namor up and targeted Weapon X. So I just then put everything else back into Dormammu. So I killed his Dormammu, he killed my Weapon X, and then it was Namor versus Dormammu and Captain Marvel, and I won this game 20-5.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and like this was another one. So we didn't score, and this is the thing, we didn't score any points for 2 rounds in a row because of Dave's characters and like not being able to pick up objectives. So like there were, I think, rounds 3 and 4, no points were scored. But I got 2 for like 6 points, 2 more turns in a row. It went to 6. I finished like one turn at like 14 or 15, and then, which was greedy because I chose not to kill Namor with 1 health left, and I had a dazed Dormammu and a dazed Captain Marvel, like with damage on them, like, and he had priority. He very easily could have took me out, but I chose to play for victory points to get more victory points because of tiebreakers, and he did kill Dormammu, but he couldn't kill, or Dormammu had 1 health left and Captain Marvel, so if he would have spiked on Captain Marvel, he would have won because he would have just killed me. But instead, Captain Marvel got both objectives and the one thing, which got me 5 points, which took me from 15 to 20, which was greedy and it was stupid, and you shouldn't do that, people.
It worked for you. It worked for you.
Yeah,
You got it.
Yeah, my theory was like, what are the odds that he can kill Dormammu on 1 attack, which only had 1 health left, so that one was easy, and then take out like 6 health on Captain Marvel. I think he did 3 to Captain Marvel, so he definitely scared me on it.
Yeah.
But I won the Brandon off and the Dormammu off. Winner.
Well done, Brandon. Well done. And that was our tournament. Before we move away from the games we played recently, Steven, do you have any games that you'd like to talk about before we move on to the character we're here to discuss?
No, I did not get any games this week, but I'm just saying you guys are lucky I didn't bring my spider foes.
Yeah, you would have come in and caused a lot of trouble for us that
These
day.
fists were rated E for everybody.
Interesting fact, my spider foes are undefeated against Criminal Syndicate.
Dude, that sounds like a challenge. I'm up for it.
Yeah, it does.
Alrighty, well, then let us move right along to the person that we are here to cover today. That person being Shuri, who I am pulling up right now. Shuri, otherwise known as Shuri. Her defenses are 3, 3, and 3. She has 5 stamina on both sides of her card. She is a threat value of 3. She is a size 2, and she is a movement speed of medium. Hey, Brad, why don't you do her attacks?
Her first energy attack is called Panther Gauntlets. It is range 5, 6 dice, cost 0. After attack is resolved, gain a power. If it would deal one or more damage, it deals 1 instead. There we go. After the attack is resolved, if the target character is size 3 or less, push the target character away short. Her second attack is also energy. It's range 2, 7 dice, cost 4. After attack is resolved, they gain stun and a wild stagger after the attack is resolved.
Okay, Brandon, why don't you do this first superpower?
Just the first superpower is Super Genius. It costs 1 power. It's reactive. When this character is attacking, it may use this superpower during the calculate success step of the attack. If it does, it may choose to count shield results instead of hit results as successes.
Okay. And Jared, why don't you finish off the card?
Yeah, so her next reactive superpower is called Upgrades. It's while another allied character within 4 is attacking or defending during the modified dice step of the attack, this character may spend up to 3 power to use this superpower. For each power spent, the allied attacking or defending character may reroll one of their attack or defense dice. And then finally, she has a passive called Head of Wakanda R&D. Whenever this character rolls dice, after the effect is resolved, it gains 1 power if it rolled at least 1 skull.
Okay, and that is Shuri. That is everything on her card. And that is not much for how effective of a character she is on the table. Like, this is a character who used to be in every list before she caught a nerf because on her builder attack, I guess it's just a gainer. On her gainer attack, she used to be able to push any size, which is crazy. It's still crazy effective being able to push size 3 because the size 3 is most models in this game. Like, she can push any size 2 and size 3, and it's range 5 on this attack. That is wild. She has so much board control that she can lay out. Steven, what are your thoughts here on Shuri? On what she does?
You have to have a plan for her. There's no way around it. You you either have to commit somebody who is size 4 if you're doing a flank tactic, or you have to commit multiple people who can't be moved, such as Colossus or anybody who can't be pushed by energy attacks, such as Claw. So it takes a good deal to kind of figure out her puzzle.
Yeah, yeah. Brad, what are your thoughts here on what Shuri does?
This is a very good example of a character who is pure support. You're never going to use her spender, or very, very unlikely to use her spender. You're probably not even going to use Super Genius. You're going to push people with her free attack, and you're going to give your other models rerolls in a size 4 bubble. And you're going to randomly gain some extra power. But that's all you need to do with her. The pushes and the upgrades are good enough on this 3-point model that if she's in affiliation, you should consider her. Which, Fred, what are her affiliations?
Her affiliations are Wakanda and A-Force.
There we go. And I've seen her less in Wakanda recently, and I think that's a shame. I think she's absolutely worth playing.
Absolutely. Like, with the King T'Challa, the 5-threat Black Panther, she does an additional damage every time she pushes someone. Or I think the first time in a turn she pushes someone. But that, like, it's range 5 and it automatically happens. So you're guaranteed damage.
I think you have to push them into a piece of terrain to get the extra damage.
Oh, do you? Okay.
But that's fine. Like, it's not that hard
Yeah.
to do.
It's likely. It's likely to be able to be done. Brandon, what are your thoughts here on what this character does?
I don't know a world where you would want to play her. You wouldn't want to play her in Wakanda or A-Force. Like, I think she's probably an auto include. I played her for a while in Criminal Syndicate, and she was great there. Like, just being able to have a 3-point that sits, like, in Criminal Syndicate, you can have her as like a 3-point that just sits on a point and pushes people off of points, which is just great. Like, it's hard to get to her and kill her with one model because, again, she gets to push you twice. Unless you're bringing a, like, size 4 character at her, and then at that point, like, you're probably already winning, if that's what they're choosing to do.
Or you're overcommitting to a character that's way smaller than your size 4 character.
Yeah, like, you're overcommitting to a situation that's probably not where you want to be. So yeah, she's really good. I don't know why you wouldn't play her in Wakanda or A-Force. Like, I think she's as close to an auto include as there is. Like, just with the push and the rerolls, like that reroll bubble is enormous.
Yeah, yeah. Jared, what do you think here on Shuri?
She's good. I definitely think that everything you guys have said so far is correct. To touch on Brad's point, you're really probably never using Super Genius. You are there for the rerolls, but the good thing about it is what she does very well in terms of her game plan, just supporting the team and getting people off points. I think I like her now and some of the new crisis setups. If you look at like Macron, she can hit. Can she hit 2 points with a range 5? If she's standing on one,
I think definitely.
I think she can. Yeah.
With and Macron, it'll depend if she's on the back of it and if they're on the back of like as far away from that point as possible.
Is that the
I
sword
still think
base?
she can. Yeah, it's
That's the
sword. It's
new
the
one.
new
Yeah.
If
sword.
it's the sword base, yes. If
So,
she's on one objective, she can hit all 3 of the other ones.
Yeah, so some of the new Crisis pack might lend itself a little bit better to Shuri, with some of the Wakanda game plan. I still don't think she's not really getting splashed anywhere, and I don't really think that she probably should be with all the models currently in the game. But in terms of like for Wakanda and for A Force, I think that she definitely probably makes the roster. And again, like what she does very well, and she has plenty of powers, especially with head of Wakanda R&D, getting that extra power from skulls. Um, and if you play on something like Macron, for example, where it's pay to flips, and she can also generate power when she interacts with that effect, I think that you always bring her. And for the most part, she plays into Wakanda and A Force's game plan very well. So I think she's good, but primarily in her home affiliations.
yeah, yeah. I think that she's such a useful piece, and it's what Brad said. She is a support character, but she's a support character that does work. Like it's not like like Wong who just sits back and helps people. She will push your opponents off their points, which can be devastating to a game plan. That can shut down the way that someone's playing entirely. I think she's really good.
She
Um,
is. She also, just to point this out, she can, if she absolutely needs to. I know you were talking about chip damage from the pushes from the leadership. She is also, she can be like a pseudo bullseye in a way where he pays 1 power for I Never Miss. 6 dice on her Panther gauntlets. If you really, I mean, how many times do you recap games and you're like, I left one character on one and I wish I could have got one more damage through? Sure, he can do that for you. Pay him 1 also. I mean, you typically won't use it, but if you do pay 1 and you count shields as hits, 6 dice, and it can only do 1 damage, but that can plink the last point of damage that you need to. She's very consistent for that. So in my head, she's kind of like a little bit of a pseudo bullseye in that regard.
absolutely, absolutely.
That can
So
be the nerf to bullseye. Give him range 3 attacks, but a push.
what are you even talking about?
These are
Oh,
this is what I'm
man.
willing to accept.
Okay, so there are 2 tactics cards that are associated with Shuri. That we. So the first one is Vibranium Shielding. And it is a Wakanda specific card, and it is active. Black Panther or Shuri may spend X power to play this card. X must be at least 1 and no more than 5. And this round, this character and allied characters, while they are within X of this character, gain the invulnerable innate superpower. X is equal to the amount of power spent to play the card. And the invulnerability innate superpower is they gain damage reduction to a minimum of 1. Reduce 1 to a minimum of 1. Why don't I see this all the time? I guess because Shuri is usually at the back of the battlefield instead of at the front. Still, man, like
This card used to see a ton of play in Wakanda. The problem is Wakanda has a million tactics cards.
that's true. That's absolutely true. Okay, because this is good. This is a good effect.
Yeah. The biggest
You're
issue
right,
at this
though.
point with Wakanda is, and like it has to be for like these reasons. Like we should have got like the newest Black Panther should have been T'Chaka, and we should have probably got a King Shuri. Like, but I really think they are terrified of that affiliation just running over again because it has been a top affiliation for a really long time. and like we don't see a lot of it around us, like in our meta or in Pittsburgh. Like, there's not a lot of it, and it's always been really confusing to me. I'm okay with it because it's probably one of like the worst matchups I have in like every affiliation I play. So like, I'm cool with it. I just don't understand why we don't see more of it.
Yeah, there should be more Wakanda players. This affiliation is great.
Yeah, to Brand's point, like, I mean, it's really what like when you're looking at tactics cards, you're always taking Wakanda forever. You're
Yeah.
taking your two restricted, and that's every game, and you really only have room for two more tactics cards because you're always taking those three every game. I
And
feel like
for the
so.
record, Wakanda has 9 Wakanda specific tactics cards.
Oh man.
Just
So
Wakanda.
many.
That doesn't include the Shuri card that we're about to talk about. That is not a part of affiliation. That doesn't include Usurp the Throne. That is Killmonger affiliated. Not a part of any of those 9. So like they have a million.
They really do, dang.
Yeah, like so it looks like it's T'Challa, and then M'Baku also has a card. I believe that's not Wakanda. His both might be Wakanda though.
I don't know. All right. So the other tactics card that's associated with Shuri is called Wisdom of the Ancestors. It is unaffiliated and active, and it either T'Challa or Shuri may spend 3 power to play this card. This round, when the character that played this card rolls attacks, defense, or dodge dice, it counts skull results as successes. That's it. That's nice. That's always really nice. As stated earlier, Wakanda has a ton of tactics cards. Do you think that this is worth taking?
Not for Shuri, maybe for T'Challa.
Yeah.
I think,
I think
yeah,
definitely not for Shuri. This is not Shuri's card.
Until we
I think
get
This
a
that,
is a
Shuri Black Panther.
yeah, I was gonna say, as
Yeah.
soon as like Black Panther Shuri comes out, this card probably will be ace, like for her. So,
Yeah, it's just right now
Fair.
though, real good on both T'Challas.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, both? You mean all 3? There are
Yeah,
3
I
T'Challas.
guess.
Of 3 different
I
points?
don't actually to be fair, the 3-point T'Challa, it'd be really hard to play with. He is, I don't want to say power starved, but he can do a lot with his power. I don't know if you would want to use this tactics card where
Yeah.
4-point can use it and 5-point also needs power but can use it. The one perk of these tactics cards is Shuri always is flush with power. That girl got 10 power on her for 99% of the game. Like she can't spend power.
Well, she
So
can spend it on
Right.
rerolls for her friends.
yeah, and then she just gets it all back. She always has a million power. Every time I've played against her, it's like, how much power does she have? And they're like 10. I'm like, you just used 6. It's like, yeah, I got it back. I'm like, I don't even know what's happening anymore.
All right. Well, that is Shuri. We sound pretty up on her, but we've got to give her a letter grade. So, I mean, she is outstanding piece of tech in Wakanda and in A-Force. If you're playing either one of those games, she's almost an auto include. Uh, I think that she's the definition of an A. She might be an A plus, but I'm gonna leave her at an A. All right, Jared, what are you gonna give to Shuri?
I think that she's very strong, like you said, in her affiliations. I still rank, splashability for models pretty high in the list, but she does do very well in affiliation. She is just a pure support piece, so you're not getting. There's she's kind of straightforward with what she's doing, so there's not a lot of surprises you can pull on your opponent. I think I'm going to give her just a solid B.
Okay, all right. Steven, what are you gonna give to Shuri?
I'm along with Jared. I'm going to give her a B. I mean, there's like, she would have been an A earlier in the game, but now with all these characters that have come out and all the tech that can be used against her, um, she's solid, but she's just a B now.
Okay, all right. Brad, what would you like to give to Shuri?
This is what a support character should be. A. She's the best in her class. She's the best support character in the game. A.
Black Cat's the best support
Okay.
character in the game. I'm not letting you do that.
She's right up there. You're
I'm just
right.
not letting you make that statement.
You're right.
Black Cat is the best.
Cat is the best support
Brandon's
character
right.
in the game. All right, but she's right up there. A.
And Brandon, what are you gonna give her?
I just couldn't let Brad say that, but I don't think he's incorrect. I think so. Like in her affiliations, I think she's an S character. I think overall, she's like that B plus A because like again, she's not someone you're really gonna splash and feel great about it. So I'm gonna level that out at a solid A with a hash and then to an A minus.
What? Okay, you're saying A minus. This is
No,
what you're
I'm saying
letting
an
out.
A. We'll go with
Okay.
A. I don't like the minus. It sounds bad.
Okay, all right. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. So that's Shuri. She's real good. Everyone. Like, I'm surprised she's not in more lists than she is. Okay. So Brad,
We
do
just
you
need
have
someone to
any?
play Wakanda.
We really do. I'm gonna try and push Borka to start playing Wakanda again. That needs to happen. We need to get some reps against it.
But Fred, you're
Brad.
R. Fred, you're R. We need someone to play this guy.
Yeah, we got too many web warriors now. You got to switch.
You might be right. I
And
probably
and
should switch
and
away from Web
Steven
Warriors.
took Spider Foes from me. So
Yeah, it hurts that Steven plays Spider Foes better than me. like Steven, you stole them from me. Okay, so then Brad,
and you're
do
rich.
you
You can
have?
just buy new models.
Oh, come on. Brad, do you have any comic book recommendations that feature Shuri?
I do, even though she was invented in 2005, so there aren't that many. And about half the time she is Black Panther. And I specifically wanted to choose stories where she was not Black Panther to save them for when we get that version of her model, because I am 100% sure we will. So,
Yeah.
the first one is Black Panther, the 2005 series 1 through 6. This story is called Who is the Black Panther? This is by Reginald Hudlin and John Romita Jr. Part of this comic is retelling Black Panther's origin with added sister. Because this is Shuri's first appearance. Her first appearance is in issue 2, where she's in a flashback. And then I think starting issue 3, she's like a regular cast member in the present. Helping out her brother in the present against Claw and the U.S. government. And then there are flashbacks to when T'Challa was younger and becoming Black Panther and all that stuff. So, a good place to start if you are a new Black Panther fan. And then my second and final recommendation is the 2018 Shuri series. This is mostly by Nnedi. It's Nnedi. Okorafor. That's Okorafor. And Leonardo Romero. I meant to look up if this author was African or not. I have a feeling they are, but I forgot to look it up after I typed this. Shuri gets her own book. T'Challa's missing, and the people of Wakanda expect Shuri to lead, but she doesn't want to do that. So she goes to outer space to find her brother. She teams up with Storm, Rocket, and Groot in space. And then she comes back, and she teams up with Miss Marvel and Miles Morales in New York. And then in the last little bit of this comic, things get really bad, and Shuri has to decide if she wants to become Black Panther again. So there's kind of 3 stories in this series, but it's all Shuri focused.
Okay. So, like, she joins the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then she joins. Well, she fights with them. I guess it's not all of them. It's only those 3.
It's just, well, Storm is not a Guardian of the Galaxy.
Oh, you're right. Storm's definitely not a Guardian of the Galaxy. You're right.
So
I just
two of them.
Rocket and Groot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
helped.
that was never
When
mind.
did the series come out?
2018.
Okay, so but after they changed the Guardians.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was confirming, because if this would have been like in 2007, 2005, like the Guardians that we all know
Yeah.
are not the same Guardians
Yeah, it
that were
would have been
written
a
in
lot different.
2000 or
This is also after the Black Panther movie, and so this series actually gives her a redesign to look more like the movie version
okay.
than she did before. I mean, it's not that different than what she was before, but it is a little.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Brad. So I guess the only thing that's left today is for my non sequitur recommendation. Okay, I need to talk about this thing that there's a video game that came out this week, called Blueprints.
Ooh,
This
that's
game.
a good one.
Are you familiar with this, Brad?
I am.
This game is categorically amazing. I am a huge fan of a really deep and intricate puzzle game, and that is absolutely what this is. Those of you who are familiar with board games, there's a board game called Betrayal on House of the Hill, where you draft rooms of a house as you're moving through the house. And this video game, Blueprints, uses that dynamic, although slightly differently. And you're moving through this mansion, trying to reach the 46th room of a 45-room mansion. And I will tell you this game is full of twists and turns. It is magnificently put together. It is my favorite game of the year so far, by far. I am loving it.
Wow, that's
Yeah, I'm gonna say that. It is on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. If you have those services, this game is free. I guess it's not free. Those are both paid services, but this game is the kind of game that makes those services worth having. I cannot more highly recommend that people play the game Blueprints.
Fred,
If you like puzzle games.
Fred, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Have you explored outside?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's that. You don't have to say anymore. I just wanted to.
Oh, the game starts with you standing in the entranceway of the house. It took me about 10 or 15 attempts going into the house to realize that I could turn around
and walk
and go
out
outside.
Of
the house. and you can do stuff outside also. There's all sorts of stuff outside. It's that kind of a game. Everyone should play it. If you like video games and if you have a mind that likes puzzles, this game is amazing.
The game's also on Steam for PC.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Have you played it, Brad?
So I saw a playthrough of the demo, and I was kind of waiting for the release, and I haven't got to it yet, but I do plan on playing this one.
Okay. I will not spoil anything.
Yeah.
But Brad, there's so much more to this game than what I've said.
Yeah.
This game is enormous. All right, and that will do it for us today. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Jared, for joining us on this call. And I wish for... Oh, sorry. You go ahead, Jared.
Oh, no, I was going to say thank you guys for letting me come back on. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's always nice to have you back on. You can join us whenever you feel up to it. And I wish for all those out there listening to have a wonderful rest of the week. Goodbye, everyone.
Happy Easter.
Bye.
Happy Easter.